Urgent! Chiefs Kingdom fan! Look at what just happened. Nobody saw this coming, huh? But first, make sure to subscribe to the channel because we bring you daily videos with the latest Chiefs Kingdom news, and don't forget to turn on notifications. So you don't miss anything. Ex-Broncos star refuses to take Kay Adams' bait about playing for the Chiefs. Justin Simmons still bleeds orange and blue. Not every player forms a sentimental attachment to the team that drafts them, but there's something different about playing for the Denver Broncos. Former Denver Broncos safety Justin Simmons is a free agent in 2025 after spending the 2024 season with the Atlanta Falcons, and his NFL future is currently up in the air. Even with that in mind, Simmons is not desperate enough to go on one of the biggest football programs in the media and beg for a job with the Kansas City Chiefs. In fact, quite the opposite. Simmons appeared on the Up and Adams show and refused to take Kay Adams' bait when she was trying to sell him on the idea of joining the Kansas City Chiefs, a team he spent his entire NFL career hating and trying to beat. Former Broncos safety. Justin Simmons still hates the Chiefs. Justin Simmons to the Chiefs. Devin McCourty talks some sense into the ex-Bronco. Hekiah Dams J. Sims 11/119. Devin and McCourty pick. Twitter.com 9EGAXCJ3GQ up. Adams Up and Adams Show, April 8th, 2025. Simmons was drafted by the Broncos back in 2016, a third-round pick out of Boston College. He came into the NFL as a backup for the vaunted no-fly zone before becoming an All-Pro and Pro Bowl player himself in Denver. Sadly, Simmons has never made the playoffs as an NFL player. It's absolutely brutal that he joined the Denver Broncos the year after Super Bowl 50 and wound up getting cut the same year the team ended its long playoff drought. Even though Simmons did a lot of losing in Denver, he was embraced by the fans and made a huge impact. It's likely that he will end up in the team's Ring of Fame someday. He still bleeds orange and blue, and you can hear it in the way he responds to Adams in this interview. Even when Devin McCourty tries to come in and convince him, Simmons isn't having it. He takes a diplomatic approach by saying he's not foolish enough to close a door, but he wants to be on a team that beats the Chiefs. Simmons is not about the if you can't beat 'em, join 'em kind of life, and you never know what the future may hold. If his only offer this offseason would happen to come from the Chiefs, then perhaps he would change his tune. But a deeply rooted hatred for the Chiefs is ingrained in Simmons, just as it is for any long-standing member of Broncos country. Simmons was one of the top leaders on the teams for most of his 8 years in Denver. Representing the franchise meant something to him, and he doesn't take it lightly. There are often separations for players and teams that cause them to want a shot at revenge against their old club. The Broncos didn't exactly do Simmons dirty this past offseason. Cutting him was a pretty standard business move with a boatload of dead cap from the Russell Wilson situation. You hate to see players like this, a player who is truly a good person, experience the brutal side of the NFL business, but Simmons will eventually have options. It's great to see him sticking to his roots, and it's rare to see such a bad L from Kay Adams. Pausing this news, just to say that if you want YouTube to keep recommending the latest Chiefs Kingdom news to you, it's very important that you leave a like on this video. Thanks. Now let's get back to the news. Chiefs signing Nick Chubb urged. Despite brutal problem, the Kansas City Chiefs run game was one of the worst in football, averaging just 101.2 yards per game, ranked 26th, with Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco last season. The Chiefs knew that adding another back with a different skill set was needed, so Elijah Mitchell was signed to bring a speed element to the offense. That gives the Chiefs 3 solid options out of the backfield. But for some, that still isn't enough. Joe Summers of KC. Kingdom wants the Chiefs to go after Pro Bowl back Nick Chubb, that Cleveland Browns star. Nick Chubb is a free agent, with many speculating that he won't return to the only organization he's ever known. Summers writes, that gives the Chiefs the perfect opportunity to swoop in and make the 29-year-old halfback a featured part of the offense. After a devastating knee injury 2 years ago, he's likely not someone who can handle a workload of 300 carries at this stage, yet he can still elevate Kansas City's offense in a big way. If he doesn't intend to return to Cleveland, there isn't a better fit than Kansas City. Chubb has seen injuries derail what was a very promising career, only totaling 10 games in 2 seasons. Once a brutal runner, Chubb has seen his career trajectory take a hit, but we aren't sure Kansas City is the place for his career revival. The Chiefs don't need another veteran power back, they need speed. Thought to have a $3.3 million market value, a move for Chubb would be cheap enough to interest the Chiefs, but having Hunt, Pacheco, and Chubb, along with Mitchell, might be too many for Kansas City to carry on the roster. Chubb is 29 and coming, off 2 injury-plagued seasons. Yes, the idea is interesting, but the Chiefs have a trio of backs capable of carrying the load in 2025. Safety Justin Simmons, looking for best situation in free agency, hopes to sign before training camp an apparent one-and-done with the Atlanta Falcons after 8 seasons as a Denver Bronco. Safety Justin Simmons is again on the market looking for a team. Last year, the 2-time Pro Bowler took until mid-August to sign a deal, a timeline he'd prefer to accelerate this time around. That's always the goal, he said Tuesday on Up Adams in regards to finding a fit earlier than in 2024. I think, yes, there's pros and cons to training camp. Cons is going through it, your body, breaking down, the whole 9, especially as you get older. But a lot of the pros is building that rapport, especially when you're not with the team and you haven't necessarily played with a lot of those guys. I think it would have benefited me to go a little bit earlier, but it also just wasn't in the cards. We'll see. We'll see. I want to go to the best situation, and I want to go a team that's gonna win. So, we'll see what that looks like. Simmons still performed with the Falcons, despite playing catch-up. He logged 62 tackles, 7 passes defensed, and collected 2 interceptions to bring his career total to 32, but he also snapped a 5-year streak of being a Pro Bowler or second-team All-Pro or both, like in 2023. Atlanta also fired defensive coordinator Jimmy Lake, forecasting change on the horizon that Simmons understands likely involves a youth movement rather than retaining someone like him. At the end of the day, I think highly of Raw coach Raheem Morris and general manager Terry Fontenot and owner Arthur Blank, and I think the organization is top-notch, Simmons said. I do think they're going to be great. It was a 1-year thing. They, like their younger guys too, sometimes things don't work out and you go in different directions. I don't know if the door's necessarily closed, but we'll see. If not back to the Falcons, where does he go next? Simmons is heading into his age 32 season, still a great veteran option, ranked number 71 overall in Greg Rosenthal's top free agents. At this point in his career, he's in mercenary mode and looking for a place to win, having never experienced a postseason game during his 9 years of play. It makes sense then for him to consider the 2 clubs that just appeared in Super Bowl. Lions, the Philadelphia Eagles could have a need after trading safety C.J. Gardner-Johnson to the Houston Texans. Plus, defensive coordinator Vic Fangio was Simmons' head coach from 2019 to 2021. Such familiarity might make adding Simmons a little later less of an issue. There was a lot of new in Atlanta. There was a new system, there was a new way to do it, Simmons said. Going to Philly with Vic, you know exactly what you're getting out of me, and I know exactly what I'm getting out of them because I've been in the system. I still have a ways to go to mastering it, but there are some things and nuances that I know Vic likes, that I know that defensive backs coach Christian Parker likes, and I think I could really help in that area. Obviously, them moving on from CJ and what he's poured into that city there is big shoes to fill, but I love what they have going with Reed Blankenship and the rest of the supporting cast there. So I don't know, it's interesting. I'm excited to see what happens. Conversely, there's also the Kansas City Chiefs, dethroned by Philadelphia after 2 straight Super Bowl victories. Such a move could be bittersweet for Simmons after he spent most of his career going head-to-head with them in an AFC West battle lopsided in Kansas City's favor. Am I shutting that door? Am I closing it? No, but I want to be the team that beats them, the former Broncos safety said. I'm not closing that door. I'm not that incompetent to think if Kansas City wanted me to come through, I wouldn't, but I just want to beat them, man. Wherever he goes, Simmons still has plenty to offer a contending team in need of leadership and production. Now, several stages into free agency and with the draft upcoming, pieces will continue to fall into place for teams. Eventually, Simmons will be one of them. And now, Chiefs. Fan, I want to hear from you. What's your opinion on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I don't know if you know this, but your opinion matters a lot for Chiefs. I'll be back any moment with more Chiefs Kingdom news.